In a distant galaxy, the Zentari lived peacefully on their beautiful planet, Zentar. The skies shimmered with a soft blue hue, and the trees danced gently in the warm breeze. The Zentari were kind beings with bright, colorful skin and gentle smiles. They valued friendship and harmony, living in balance with nature. However, their happiness was about to change. One dark day, the Korath Empire, a ruthless and powerful race, launched an attack on Zentar. The Korath were known for their cruel ways, spreading fear across the galaxy. They arrived in enormous warships, their engines roaring like angry beasts. The Zentari watched in horror as the ships blocked out the sun, casting dark shadows over their cities. As the Korath descended, the Zentari's leaders gathered in a great hall. Panic filled the room. "What do we do?" asked Lyra, a brave young Zentari. "They are too strong for us." The elders looked worried, their faces pale. They knew the Korath wanted to conquer Zentar and enslave its people. "We must call for help," said Eldor, the wise leader of the Zentari. "If we do not act now, our home will be lost forever." Everyone agreed, and they quickly worked together to send a distress signal into the stars. The message was simple: "Help us. We are under attack. We beg for mercy." Meanwhile, far away on Earth, a team of human explorers was on a routine mission in space. Captain Sarah, a strong and determined leader, and her crew were scanning the galaxy for new worlds. Suddenly, their ship, the Horizon, picked up a faint signal. "What is that?" Sarah asked, her curiosity piqued. The ship's communication officer, Tom, quickly analyzed the message. "It's a distress signal," he exclaimed, reading the words on the screen. "They're asking for help." "They're being attacked!" The crew listened closely as the message repeated, filled with fear and desperation. "This could be dangerous," Sarah said, her brow furrowed. "But we cannot ignore a plea for help. We must go to their aid." The crew nodded in agreement, feeling a strong sense of duty. They set their course for the Zentari system, ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead. As the Horizon sped through space, Sarah and her crew prepared for battle. They checked their weapons and made sure their shields were ready. "We don't know what we will face," Sarah reminded them, "but we must stay strong. We are their only hope." The crew worked quickly, each member knowing their role. The ship glided smoothly through the stars, the excitement and tension building. They could feel the urgency of the Zentari's call for help. As they approached Zentar, the crew stared in awe at the beautiful planet, now marred by chaos. They could see the Korath ships looming overhead, launching attacks on the peaceful cities below. Explosions lit up the sky, and the cries of the Zentari could be heard even from the ship. "We have to act fast!" Sarah shouted. "Prepare to engage the enemy!" With hearts pounding, the humans took their positions. Sarah gave the order, and the Horizon swooped down into the battle. The crew felt fear, but also a fierce determination to protect the innocent. They were ready to fight for the Zentari, to answer their desperate call for help. As they entered the fray, the humans' advanced technology clashed against the brutal might of the Korath. The Zentari watched in amazement as the humans fought with bravery and skill. Hope began to flicker in their hearts. Perhaps, just perhaps, they would be saved. In the chaos of battle, the human crew and the Zentari would soon learn the power of friendship, courage, and the strength that comes from standing together against darkness. As the Horizon descended into the Zentari atmosphere, Captain Sarah and her crew felt a mix of excitement and fear. The ship shook slightly as they entered the planet's atmosphere. The beautiful blue and green landscapes of Zentar came into view, but their beauty was overshadowed by the chaos unfolding below. The crew stared at the devastation. Korath warships hovered over the city, firing energy beams that tore through buildings, sending debris flying into the air. The Zentari people ran in panic, their cries echoing through the chaos. It was a scene of utter despair, and Sarah's heart sank at the sight. "We have to help them," she declared, gripping the controls tightly. "Captain, we're getting readings of Korath forces all around," Tom, the communication officer, reported. "They outnumber us, and their ships are heavily armed." "I know," Sarah replied, determination in her voice. "But we can't just sit here. We have to make a difference." She quickly gave orders to her crew. "Prepare our weapons! Engage the enemy on my mark!" The crew scrambled to follow her orders. The ship's lights blinked as systems powered up, and the sound of the weapons charging filled the cockpit. Sarah took a deep breath, her heart racing. "Let's show them what we can do." With her crew ready, Sarah piloted the Horizon into the fray. As they approached the Korath ships, enemy fire lit up the sky. "Watch out!" shouted Mark, the ship's pilot, as he skillfully dodged a blast aimed at them. The ship lurched to the side, narrowly avoiding destruction. "Return fire!" Sarah commanded. The ship's cannons unleashed powerful blasts, targeting the nearest Korath ship. Explosions erupted as their shots hit home. The crew cheered, but the battle was far from over. The Korath forces quickly turned their attention to the horizon. "They're targeting us!" shouted Tom. "We need to shield up!" The crew activated the ship's shields, which flickered to life, just in time to absorb a wave of incoming fire. The impact shook the ship, but they held strong. "Keep firing! We need to create a path for the Zentari," Sarah urged. The humans fought with everything they had, using their technology to their advantage. They aimed for weak spots on the Korath ships, striking fast and hard. Meanwhile, below, the Zentari watched in awe as the humans engaged the enemy. Their eyes widened with hope. "Look! They are fighting back!" Lyra exclaimed, pointing at the horizon darting through the air. The Zentari, inspired by the humans' bravery, began to organize themselves. They grabbed what weapons they had and prepared to fight alongside their new allies. "Let's show them we won't go down without a fight!" Lyra shouted to her fellow Zentari. Together they rallied, gathering courage to stand against the invaders. As the battle raged on, Sarah noticed a group of Zentari warriors trying to flank a Korath ship. "They're brave," she thought. "They just need a little help. Mark, can you cover them?" she asked. "Absolutely," he replied, turning the ship toward the fighting Zentari. The horizon fired on the Korath ship, providing the distraction the Zentari needed. They took advantage of the opening and launched their attack. With newfound determination, they pushed forward, catching the Korath off guard. The tide of the battle began to shift. The humans and Zentari fought in harmony, each supporting the other. The Korath forces, now realizing they were being outmatched, scrambled to regroup. As explosions erupted around them, the humans felt a surge of hope. They were not alone in this fight. Together they were strong. Sarah looked out at the chaos, her heart racing with adrenaline. "We can do this!" she shouted, rallying her crew. Just then, a large Korath ship loomed closer, its guns aimed directly at the horizon. "Brace for impact!" Tom yelled. The crew prepared for the worst as the enemy ship unleashed a powerful blast. The screen filled with bright light, and for a moment, everything went white. But through the smoke and chaos, Sarah's resolve burned bright. They had come to help, and they would fight to the end. The explosion from the Korath ship echoed in the air, and the horizon shook violently. Captain Sarah gripped the controls tightly, fighting to keep the ship steady. "Report!" she shouted, her voice steady despite the chaos. "We're okay, Captain," Tom replied, his fingers flying over the control panel. "But that blast took out our shields. We need to retreat." "No! We can't leave now," Sarah insisted, determination burning in her eyes. "The Zentari need us. We have to push forward." She glanced at the view screen, where she saw the Zentari warriors rallying below. They were fighting bravely, but the Korath were overwhelming them. Down on the ground, Lyra watched the horizon dart through the sky. "We can't let the humans fight alone," she shouted to her fellow warriors. "We must join them." The Zentari warriors nodded, their fear replaced by courage. They grabbed their weapons and charged into the fray, determined to stand beside their new friends. As they fought, the humans began to notice the bravery of the Zentari. "Look at them go!" Mark shouted, excitement in his voice. "They're really holding their own." The Zentari were using their agility and speed to outmaneuver the Korath, dodging blasts and striking back with their own weapons. Sarah realized that the combination of human technology and Zentari spirit was powerful. "If we work together, we can turn the tide of this battle," she called to her crew. "Let's coordinate our attacks." The crew quickly adjusted their strategy. "Zentari forces, listen up," Sarah said through the ship's comm system, connecting with the Zentari fighters. "We'll create a distraction while you flank the Korath. Let's show them what we can do together." "Understood, Captain," Lyra replied, her heart racing with excitement. "We will follow your lead." With a new plan in place, the horizon soared into action. Sarah piloted the ship in tight loops, drawing fire from the Korath ships. As they fired at the horizon, the Zentari took the opportunity to strike from the side. The Korath were caught off guard and explosions erupted as the Zentari attacked. The battle grew fiercer, but the humans and Zentari fought side by side, each supporting the other. Sarah felt a rush of pride as she watched the Zentari warriors leap into action, their skills shining through. They fought with passion and determination, defending their home with everything they had. "Keep pushing!" Sarah shouted, feeling the energy of the fight. "We can't let up now." Suddenly, a loud crash shook the horizon. "We're taking damage!" Tom yelled, trying to stabilize the ship. "Another Korath ship is coming right at us." Sarah's mind raced. "Mark, prepare to evade! We need to get out of their line of fire!" She tightened her grip on the controls, ready to maneuver. The horizon dipped and soared, avoiding the enemy's blasts. But just as they thought they had gained the upper hand, a massive Korath battleship appeared. It was larger than anything they had seen before, and it fired a powerful beam toward the horizon. "Brace for impact!" Tom shouted. The ship jolted violently as the beam struck. Lights flickered and alarms blared. "We're losing power!" Mark shouted. But just as despair threatened to set in, Lyra's voice came through the comm system. "Captain, we are on our way. We will flank that battleship." The Zentari fighters swarmed around the Korath battleship, distracting it with their speed and agility. Sarah watched in awe as the Zentari warriors executed their plan. They darted around the massive ship, firing their weapons and drawing the attention of the Korath. "Now!" Sarah shouted, seizing the moment. "Attack!" The crew of the Horizon fired their cannons at the battleship, joining forces with the Zentari. The blasts hit the Korath ship, and the enemy struggled to retaliate. With every strike, the humans and Zentari grew stronger together. They were not just allies. They were friends fighting for a common cause. As they battled side by side, Sarah felt a surge of hope. "Together we can win this!" she declared, her voice full of confidence. The courage of both races inspired them to fight harder, united in their mission to protect Zentar. In that moment, they realized that as long as they stood together, no enemy could break their spirit. The fight was far from over, but they were ready to face whatever came next. The air crackled with tension as Captain Sarah and her crew prepared for the final showdown against the Korath forces. The horizon hovered above the battlefield, its hull scarred from previous fights. Below, the Zentari warriors stood ready, their faces set with determination. They knew this battle would determine the fate of their planet. "Everyone listen up!" Sarah's voice echoed through the ship. "This is it. We've fought hard, but the Korath still have their battleship intact. We need to take it down to win this fight." The crew nodded, their eyes filled with resolve. Tom quickly pulled up the schematics of the Korath battleship on the screen. "It has weak points on its underside," he said, pointing at the map. "If we can get under it, we can deal a significant blow." "Mark, can you get us into position?" Sarah asked, her heart racing. "Absolutely, Captain," Mark replied, his fingers dancing over the controls. The ship began to move, descending toward the chaos below. As they approached, Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline. They had come so far, and they were ready to finish this. The Zentari warriors, led by Lyra, spotted the horizon moving into position. "Now's our chance!" she shouted to her comrades. "Let's give them everything we've got!" The Zentari charged forward, their weapons ready. As the horizon neared the battleship, Sarah saw the Korath scrambling to respond. "They see us! Prepare for evasive maneuvers," she commanded. Mark skillfully piloted the ship, weaving through enemy fire. The crew held their breath as blasts flew past them, narrowly missing their ship. "Steady!" Sarah urged, focusing on the battleship's underside. "Get us in closer!" Mark pushed the ship forward, bringing them right beneath the enemy vessel. The Zentari warriors circled around, distracting the Korath forces above. "Now fire!" Sarah ordered. The horizon unleashed a barrage of cannon fire, striking the weak points of the battleship. Explosions erupted, shaking the ship and sending shock waves through the air. The Korath battleship roared in anger, returning fire. "They're targeting us!" Tom yelled, desperately trying to maneuver the ship. Just then, a blast hit the horizon, causing the ship to shudder violently. "Hold on!" Mark shouted as he struggled to keep the ship steady. The crew fought to remain focused, knowing their mission was at stake. Meanwhile, Lyra and her Zentari warriors were not giving up. "We have to create a diversion!" she yelled. They launched a coordinated attack, firing at the battleship with all their might. The Korath were caught off guard, distracted by the sudden assault from the Zentari. "Now is our moment!" Sarah shouted, seeing the chaos unfold. "Mark, take us up again. We need to get a better angle." With a quick twist of the controls, Mark pulled the horizon upward, ascending above the battleship. From this vantage point, they could see the entire battlefield. The Korath forces were scrambling to regroup, and the Zentari continued their assault, pushing back with fierce determination. "Let's finish this!" Sarah declared, her heart pounding. "Tom, target the main reactor. That's where we'll hit them hardest!" Tom quickly adjusted the targeting system, focusing on the glowing core of the battleship. "Locked on, Captain!" he shouted. "On my mark, fire!" Sarah commanded, her pulse quickening. The crew braced themselves, ready for the final strike. 3, 2, 1, fire! The horizon unleashed a powerful beam of energy, striking the battleship's reactor. The impact was immense, sending shockwaves through the air. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, the battleship erupted in a spectacular explosion, lighting up the sky. The Korath forces, now disoriented, began to retreat. The Zentari warriors cheered, their spirits soaring as they watched the enemy fall. "We did it!" Lyra shouted, raising her weapon in triumph. "We fought together and won!" Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. "We did it, but we couldn't have done it without you," she said, smiling at Lyra and her warriors. As the horizon hovered above the battlefield, Sarah knew this victory was just the beginning of a stronger alliance. They had faced danger together and emerged triumphant. And as they celebrated their hard-won victory, the future seemed bright. "Let's get ready to help rebuild," Sarah said, her heart full of hope. "This is a new beginning for all of us." The air was filled with cheers and laughter as the Zentari celebrated their hard-fought victory. Captain Sarah stood at the edge of the crowd, watching the joy unfold before her. The sun shone brightly over the battlefield, illuminating the damage but also the hope that had emerged from it. They had won, but the journey was far from over. "Captain, over here!" Mark called out, waving her over. Sarah joined her crew, who were gathered around Lyra and the Zentari leaders. The excitement in the air was contagious, and Sarah felt a warmth in her heart. "We could not have done this without you humans," Lyra said, her voice filled with gratitude. "You fought bravely and saved our people." Sarah smiled back, feeling the connection between their two races deepen. "We fought together, and that made us strong. Now we can build a better future together." Lyra nodded, her bright eyes shining. "The Korath are gone, but we need to rebuild our homes and our lives. Your help would mean everything to us." "Of course," Tom chimed in, stepping forward. "We're ready to assist in any way we can. We'll work together to make Zentar thrive again." As the celebrations continued, the Zentari leaders began to discuss plans for rebuilding. Sarah listened intently, feeling a sense of pride swell in her chest. They were more than just allies now. They were friends, united by their experiences. "Let's start with the villages that suffered the most," Lyra suggested. "We can bring supplies and help with repairs." "Great idea," Sarah replied. "And we can share our technology to make the rebuilding process faster. Together we can create something amazing." With the sun setting on the horizon, the group began to organize their efforts. The humans and Zentari worked side by side, gathering supplies and planning logistics. As they collaborated, laughter and friendship blossomed, turning a battle-scarred field into a place of unity. Days turned into weeks as the rebuilding effort progressed. The Zentari showed Sarah and her crew their culture, introducing them to their traditions, food, and music. They shared stories of their history, and Sarah found herself enchanted by the vibrant spirit of the Zentari people. One evening, as they gathered around a fire, Lyra shared a tale about their ancestors. "Long ago, we faced a great threat, much like the Korath," she explained. "But we stood together, and our unity brought us strength. This battle reminded me of our past." Sarah listened, captivated by Lyra's words. "It's amazing how history can teach us," she said. "We can learn from each other and grow stronger." "Yes," Lyra replied, her voice filled with passion. "Together we can create a brighter future. Our worlds can be united in peace." As the days passed, Sarah noticed the change in the Zentari people. They were filled with hope and determination, ready to rebuild and prosper. The scars of battle were still there, but they no longer defined them. Instead, the spirit of unity had taken root. One day, while overseeing the rebuilding of a village, Sarah received a message from her superiors back on Earth. They wanted to know about the situation on Zentar and the relationship between the two races. Sarah smiled, knowing that she had something important to share. "Captain!" Mark called, running toward her with excitement. They want to hear our story. They're interested in the alliance we've formed. That's fantastic, Sarah replied, her heart racing. Let's prepare a report. We need to show them how powerful our partnership is. Together, they gathered the crew and the Zentari leaders to draft their report. They shared their experiences, the challenges they faced, and the triumphs they achieved. The bond between the humans and the Zentari was now a symbol of hope, and they wanted everyone to know. As they finished their report, Sarah looked around at her friends, both human and Zentari. "This is just the beginning," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "We have created something special here, and we will continue to grow together." The group cheered, their spirits soaring. They were no longer just a human crew or a Zentari tribe. They were allies, friends, and a family united by hope and purpose. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Sarah felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had faced darkness and emerged stronger, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would build a future filled with hope, friendship, and peace.